Madison's Board of Zoning Appeals, February 9th, 2026. Mr. Secretary, would you call the roll?
Absolutely. All right. Scott Baldwin,
Here.
Rick Ferris,
Here.
Carl England,
Here.
and Nancy Burkhardt.
Here.
We have two sets of minutes to consider this meeting. We'll first consider the minutes of our last meeting, January. Are there any additions or corrections to January's minutes?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor? I move that we approve January's 26's minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. And we have a set of minutes that had to be tabled from December of 2025. I move that we approve.
And Scott, on that one, I have the two updates to docket numbers.
Right, thank you.
So I was not at this meeting, but I was trying to go through and close out those applications and realize in those minutes that were sent to you guys, what is listed as BZVD 2514 for 815 First Street, that should have been listed as BZVU 25-8. And then the following one for 609 Second Street, it was listed as BZVD 2513, and that should be BZVD 2517. So if you want to motion with those two amendments, I will make sure that we get Christie or whatnot to get those incorporated.
Are there any other additions or corrections to December's meeting minutes? I move that we approve the minutes from December of 2025 with those corrections.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. They are approved.
Correct.
Moving on to our renewals, we have only had three of them, Amy Black and Chad Nichols, Michael Holchak, Gray Marcus, Chad and Ashley have all paid their renewal fees, no complaints. Therefore, I move we approve the renewal of these three conditional use permits.
I'll second your motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we had one, BZCU-23-4, Glenaya Moore, 3607 State Road 62. That was a conditional use permit for mobile home, and we have, as of our meeting, not received the renewal payment. So therefore, I move, first, we instruct the appropriate staff member to attempt to contact her and see if this conditional use is still valid. And second, we inform her that if she pays her conditional use fee by our next regular meeting, it will be renewed.
I'll second.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Moving on, we had one tabled application from last month's meeting. It's BZVD-25-16, Delbert Reese, requesting a variance from development standards to build a new shed on an existing pad, 2747 Lanier Drive. Is there someone here to address this issue?
Yeah, I'm Delbert Reese, 2747 Lanier Drive. I'm just wanting to build a shed on that existing concrete pad you see there. Right if you're on right there. It's 4 foot from the line instead of 10 foot from the line. So, now that all letters to the neighbors, nobody has any concern with it.
How long was the previous shed there, or how long has it been gone?
Well, there wasn't a shed there. That's a concrete pad. There was a pool on that pad.
I see. Board members, any other questions, comments?
You're not gonna have to modify the pad or anything to accommodate what you're building?
Any other questions or comments, board members? Would anyone in the audience like to speak for or against this application? Well, seeing none, you can have a a seat, sir. We do have some findings of fact. Some of you may not know about this. They are criterion that the state sets up. If you'd like to see them, just contact our secretary. So this is a variance from developmental standards. I will go through the list and ask each of you, since this is a variance, your opinion and state your opinion and reasoning. Number one, the approval is not injurious to the public health, safety, morals, general welfare. Mr. Ferris.
No, I don't believe so. I think he's just trying to use an existing structure that's already been there.
Mrs. Burkhart.
No, there are other structures like that in the neighborhood.
Mr. Eaglin.
No, it should help the neighborhood, I think, with, give the gentleman some more storage.
And I have seen no indication from anybody that there's a problem there. I think that one's approved. Number two, this is about the use and value of adjacent property areas not substantially adversely affected. Mr. Ferris.
No, I don't believe it will be. I mean, he's just trying to use what's already there.
Mrs. Burkhart.
No, I see no problem in that area.
Mr. Eaglin.
Nope, none of the neighbors complained. Like I said, I think it's just gonna enhance his property.
And there was no testimony from a realtor or neighbors or anybody, so I think that one's met. And number three, strict application of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties. What are they? Mr. Ferris.
Well, the location of the lot line is the practical difficulty that he's dealing with. And if we adhere to the ordinance as it's written, then he couldn't build the shed.
Mrs. Burkhart.
I agree with that comment.
Mr. Eaglin.
I agree.
The practical difficulty is the size of the yard, so I think that one's met. Well, we've gone through our findings of fact. We'll take a motion.
I move we approve variances requested.
Second.
And can we have a roll call?
Sure thing. All right. Rick Ferris,
Yes.
Scott Baldwin,
Yes.
Carl England,
Yes.
Nancy Burkhart.
Yes.
Well, sir, you have your variance. We wish you well. Next item on the agenda, under new applications, we have several applications for conditional use permits. The first item, BZCU-25-27, 2205 Taylor Street. Christy Hay, Mark and Christy Hay, requesting a conditional use approval under category 111 home occupation to operate a one-chair nail salon. Will somebody come up, give your name and address, explain what you want to do?
Christy Hay, 2205 Taylor Street. We have an existing shop that we built just mostly for my personal use. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and in my retirement, I just want to work out of there and do nails. I used to own a shop and sold, and this is what I just want to do. We don't really have any issues with parking there. As you can see, my shop is built onto the detached garage. It's not attached to our home. We park our personal vehicles. I park mine up front. His are usually away from there. It would only be me.
Like you have plenty of parking.
Yes, yes, we do.
That's a good thing.
What hours do you propose?
Well, I had mentioned to Amy, like 7 to 7. I'm not an early person. It would not be that early. And, probably no later than 7, 8 o'clock, something like that. I have evening people who do come in.
Well, if the board elects to approve your conditional use, we do have to have a definite time. So you want 7 to 7? Or maybe a little later, like 8 or 9?
We're not gonna check on that 7 o'clock early.
I'm sorry. It would, more than likely be more like 9, maybe to 8.
9 AM to 8 PM, you propose?
Yes. I have people that do come in at 6, so.
And I presume you would have like one person at a time?
Yes, definitely.
And
The
that-
only time there might be an overlap would be if someone were coming in as I was finishing up. But there again, we do have plenty of parking, so,
So you would have max 2 cars
right.
for a short term. Well, it is a residential area. and,
Yes.
There is a problem. Our current zoning ordinance, section 6.10A, number 1, little a, a home occupation, which is what you want to do, is conducted entirely within a dwelling. And this is a detached garage. So, staff, do you have anything to
So
add?
that's where we've talked that we're, in theory, in transition, if new ordinances get updated, and I know you and I kind of went back and forth with this ordinance, the new ordinance, and when do you apply, that the new ordinance allows that to be within any accessory structure too. So, again, by the time you get this established, that's not been something that seems to be contentious, or debated within that proposed ordinance. So that I think it would just be that needs to be in effect before she actually establishes it, the use, so, because it would be compliant once
So you're
this comes in.
proposing a conditional use contingent upon the adoption of the
Yeah,
new
I mean, if
ordinance?
not, we could just go through a variance process for that, but it would be under the new UDO, permitted within any, because it's completely within a building.
Right.
The only reason I bring it up is because it is a residential area. And under our existing ordinance, residences are pretty much residences,
Right.
and they have a whole set of rules. So I understand you've talked over with Mrs. Williams,
Yes.
quite a lot probably.
Yes.
So are you good with what she has, what she's proposed?
In theory, possibly, again, we can't ever predict that timing, right? But we've
Right.
talked about it would be
Right.
hopefully the
Yes.
next couple of months. And if not, we can just go through the variance process for that. But hopefully by the time I know you were going to get up and running, you've got, do some things, I think, with the state too. Or you already have your license, that's right.
Yes, yes.
We can take care of that hopefully within that time frame, I would think.
Board members, do you have anything?
I got a couple of questions. Do you have plumbing in that building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So since it's a new salon, does it need to be inspected then by the examiners? Like the state board examiners, since it's a new salon?
I don't know if it does or not.
That might be something you want to check into, just because of your license.
Yes.
That's all I know. And for disinfecting your equipment, do you use like a wet disinfectant? Do you use like an autoclave or?
Wet, barbicide.
So yeah, I'm curious to know if it needs to be an inspection by examiners.
Yeah, and that's something we can definitely look into. Outside of whatever the approval, if it does get approved, that's going to be required by state code anyway. But that's something we can look in through the health department, usually is I think the one who does that.
Any other questions or comments, board members?
I think we just include that in our motion.
Anything else, board members? Would anybody in the audience like to speak for or against this proposed nail salon? Seeing nobody, you can have a seat, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is a conditional use. There are a set of 9 criteria, you can see here, by the state. I will go down the list. And And if any of you board members have comments or objections, and you don't think that the criteria is met, feel free to speak up. This is category 111. Number one, is that the appropriate category? Are you all satisfied, board members?
Yes.
Yes.
Number two, this is harmonious with the general objectives or specific objectives of the comprehensive plan, zoning ordinance. Are you all in agreement there?
Yes.
Number three, harmonious and appropriate in appearance with the existing or intended character of the general area, and it won't change that essential character. Are you in agreement?
Yes.
Yes.
Number four, hazardous or disturbing to neighboring uses.
No.
Are you in agreement? Or
Yes.
do you think it will not be hazardous, I should say?
I see no issue.
Number five, this is about being served by utilities and services, all those persons and agencies and whatnot, sewer, water, et cetera. Are there any problems, board members?
No.
problem.
No
No.
problems.
Number six, this is about creating excessive requirements of public expense, not detrimental to the economic welfare of the community. Are you okay with that one?
Yes.
Number seven, this is, do you agree this won't involve uses, processes, materials, et cetera, that are detrimental to the person's property, general welfare by producing too much traffic noise, smoke fumes, et cetera?
Should-
Are there any
should be-
problems?
No
No
problems.
issues.
Number eight, this one is one about not interfering with traffic. Any issues?
No.
No.
And number nine, loss or destruction of natural, scenic, historic features. Any problems?
No problems.
Nope. Don't you?
Having gone through our findings of fact, I move that we approve this conditional use for a period of 1 year, contingent, and its renewal being contingent upon the adoption of the new zoning ordinance.
I'll second your motion.
And I'm not
Oh,
done
I'm
yet.
sorry.
And also subject to the following conditions: hours from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., one client at a time, with maximum of 2 cars for short term. That's my motion.
I'm ready. I'll second your motion.
All right.
And can we have a roll call?
Absolutely. Rick Ferris,
Yes.
Scott Baldwin,
Yes.
Carl England,
Yes.
Nancy Berger.
Ma'am, we wish you well.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda. I gotta do my paperwork here. Next item on the agenda is BZCU-25-28. Sherilyn Miller, RBCT Properties LLC, requesting under conditional use under 121 rooming and boarding house located at 822 Green Street. And someone come up and address.
So I have
Give
quite,
your name and address for the record,
Oh,
ma'am, please.
my name and my personal address,
Well, personal business.
Sherilyn Miller, and I'm here on behalf of Recovery Foundation of Southern Indiana. Our address is P.O. Box 22, Hanover. But we're looking to purchase the house at 822 Green Road.
My only problem, or big problem at the moment, is that there was very little information in the application packet. It mentioned something about a transitional house. Well, transition of what? Is it like a sober house?
Recovery residence, yes. There was an addendum to the application that answered in a lot more detail some of those
That
questions.
was what I sent out last Friday. Some of that is included in the printout copy. It has the big updated information submitted. It was red when I emailed it, but I think I printed black and white. So that was some of the additional information that was requested. And then also, there was, I think, a link to some of the just general information on Recovery Foundation of Southern Indiana. Your handbook.
Yes.
Not specific to necessarily just this house, but more of to your, or was it?
Right, the handbook would be for the programming for this
Correct.
specific organization, yes.
Yeah, for the organization, yes, not just this house, but
So it may
whatever
be
houses.
helpful if you give us an overview of what you perceive it as being compared to what you have in other places, like females, males, where they're coming from, just a general overview of the whole project, I guess.
Okay, so I have a lengthy presentation, but it doesn't seem like that's the way this is really going, so I don't know how much.
Well, we'd appreciate detail, ma'am. I mean,
Okay. So, I mean, I want to give you guys some history on research on the impact of recovery residences in communities. So, research consistently shows that stable housing is one of the strongest predictors of long-term recovery. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration identifies home and community as essential pillars of sustained recovery. A recovery house provides both. It's a safe, structured environment that reduces relapse risk, and there's a supportive peer community that increases engagement in treatment and in treatment and recovery. There's a lower demand on emergency medical services and crisis response. And for Madison, this means healthier residents and reduced strain on local health care and first responders. There's a benefit of economic and workforce benefits. Substance use disorder often disrupts employment and housing stability. Recovery housing helps residents regain footing so they can return to the workforce and contribute to the local economy. Benefits to Madison include increased workforce participation and job retention, reduced costs associated with homelessness, incarceration, and emergency care, greater stability for local employers who struggle to fill open positions. Stable housing is a foundational step toward long-term financial independence for residents and economic vitality for the city. Without stable housing, individuals often cycle between homelessness, jail, and emergency services. Recovery housing interrupts this cycle by providing structure, accountability, and support. Communities with recovery housing experience fewer repeat arrests, lower rates of homelessness, reduced burden on law enforcement and the court system. A recovery house strengthens neighborhood stability and enhances overall community safety. Local providers consistently identify housing as one of the biggest barriers to successful recovery. A recovery house fills a critical gap by offering a stable base from which individuals can access treatment, employment services, and family support. This aligns with Madison's public health priorities and expands the city's capacity to address addiction as a chronic health condition rather than a crisis-driven emergency. Madison is known for its resilience, compassion, and commitment to community well-being. A recovery house reflects these values by keeping residents connected to their hometown, strengthening families, and reducing generational impacts of addiction, and promoting dignity, stability, and hope. It's not simply a program, it's an investment in Madison's long-term health, safety, and economic strength. So that's a little bit of, what research has shown and what the benefit is of a recovery residence. This specific program, I'd like to talk a little bit about what this specific program will offer. And the requirements for participation in this program are, first of all, a willingness to participate in all aspects of the program. Residents will be required to maintain employment, participate in daily 12-step recovery meetings, participate in life skills classes such as parenting, budgeting, healthy relationships, participate in evidence-based practices such as Matrix Program and Seeking Safety and some others. They are mandated to do community service every week in the community. And they're also required to have a mental health evaluation and participate in outpatient treatment. It's not a detox, so that means they have to be already off of drugs and alcohol when they come to us, so they already have to be sober. Usually that's accomplished by coming straight out of an inpatient program or like out of jail or prison. And it's not a homeless shelter. These people, they're coming with a very specific purpose, and will have very specific things that they have to do in the program. The program is a 4-phase program, so that means to move on to graduation, they have to complete each phase in succession. It's a minimum 6-month stay, up to possibly a year. We'll have very strict rules. If you looked over that handbook, it's like 6 or 7 pages of rules. It's highly structured. They'll have a curfew, random drug testing. There will be a 0 tolerance for drug or alcohol activity, theft, or violence, which means any of those things automatically dismissal from the program. There will be a full-time paid house manager during daytime hours, and then a nighttime live-in house monitor who's there to oversee things in the evenings and nighttime. The house will also have internal and external cameras to monitor safety of the home and anything going on in and around the home. As noted above, scholarly studies have found that residences which operate in a similar fashion lead to increased odds of abstinence, decreased arrests, greater likelihood of employment, and overall improved quality of life. Studies have even found that there's no evidence that recovery residences lower surrounding property values. I specifically even tried to search terms requesting studies that would show how recovery residences have a detrimental effect on communities, and the results said there are no credible studies showing that recovery residences are detrimental to communities. In fact, the research that does exist consistently finds no negative community impact, and in many cases it has positive effects. I'm not only speaking from studies and research, though. I personally have experience of more than a decade of involvement with recovery residences in this county, of which we've had 3 formal recovery residences over the past 20 years or so. It's been my experiences that there were no problems. It's been my experience that there were no problems in the neighborhoods in which these houses existed. They did not have a reputation for disturbances or having local law enforcement called to deal with issues at the homes. On the contrary, there have been many nonprofits in the community that can attest to the benefit of having residents in those programs do volunteer work with their agencies over the last couple decades. We now have several women on our very board of directors who have benefited from one of the local programs, along with women on our board who have attended similar programs in other counties. They're working at local factories, they work at mental health centers and other respected businesses, they attend local churches, they've obtained college degrees, they volunteer with different organizations, including this one. This is all volunteer. They've been sober and productive for years, and they are an asset to the community. Some are here tonight willing to share their stories if you want to hear them. So we're going to be seeking certification through the Department of Mental Health as a Level 3 recovery residence. That will require that we abide by national quality standards and code of ethics, and we'll have to pass an inspection as well. This is not required. Anybody can open a recovery residence, and there's no, and you don't have to get certified by anybody. You can just open your doors and call yourself a recovery residence. But we don't want that. We want to have this oversight and quality of care for our program participants so that we know we're doing everything top notch. We're also going to become a Recovery Works provider, and that just adds another layer of accountability by requiring policies and procedures that align with Indiana standards. Bethany Legacy Foundation has a mission to make Jefferson County the healthiest place in the world, and we're in agreement with that. We're doing our little part to offer an opportunity for people to live their optimal lives, substance-free. Our tagline for our organization is create a life worth living. Our goal is for every person who enters our program to have every opportunity to do just that. And this is the bottom line. We want to be good neighbors. We want to be a bright light in the community. I've grown up here. I love my town. I want to bring value to my town. Everyone gets on social media and talks about all the problems, but very few will pick up the torch and do something about it. They all want the mayor or local government to fix everything. We don't see it that way. We see that it is the people with the heart and the passion for a particular cause who are best equipped to do something. So that's what we're doing. We see a problem, we see a need, and we're providing a solution.
Board members, do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. What's the maximum, is it just women or is it women, men?
This will be just women
Just
in
women.
this house.
And what's the maximum number of women?
10.
So you've got, what, 6 bedrooms in there?
There are 5 bedrooms.
5 bedrooms. And how many bathrooms?
2.
When I saw it, I thought it said 1 bathroom. I thought, that's a lot. But you are having someone there 24 hours to monitor. And how many cars do you think you'd have there?
So we have, with this being right across the street from the sports complex, we've talked to the Parks Department about using that lot there for daytime parking, and they're on board with that. They're fine with that. We don't anticipate many cars because usually these women will be coming, like I said, out of jail or prison. A lot of them don't even have the driver's license right now, so it's part of one of the things they'll be working towards. So at any given time, we don't anticipating more than a couple residents having a car. But we are also already looking into adding parking at the house if we need to.
Would they be required to pay rent,
They would pay a program fee,
but not
a weekly program
necessarily
fee.
rent?
We don't consider it rent. We consider it like for programming and.
Is it required? I mean, are they
Yes.
to work and there is a
Yes,
payment
it is required that they work and pay that weekly fee, yes. I mean, we're not going to necessarily evict anybody if they're not paying it, but, we would work out a payment plan for that.
And
Do you know if there are other recovery houses in close proximity to?
I'm not aware of any
This
on the
one?
hilltop, so I guess Jefferson House, which used to be downtown, is now on Bear Street. So that would be the closest.
I believe there was also a recovery house similar on East Second Street and I think St. Michael's.
Yes,
That-
it's on the corner.
Yes, I believe
Corner
that's part of the Roof Haven. It sounds like the one that's part of the Roof Haven program.
And I do remember at that meeting, there was great concern that there would be drunken boyfriends outside howling and yelling and
How's that
all
turned out?
kinds of tumult, and you don't even know those people are there.
Right.
Will there be a limit on visitors there?
Yes, there's a strict visit policy. All visitors would have to be approved ahead of time, and visiting hours are only on Saturday and Sunday for 3 or 4 hours.
Children? Any children?
Not living in the program, no.
No staying overnight? or-
No. They could visit during visiting hours.
Okay.
That would be it.
Any other questions or comments, board members, concerns? Well, thank you, ma'am. Would anyone in the audience, in interests of brevity, if you're in favor of this, could you just hold up your hand? Okay, well, like I say, we could go till 3 in the morning. We've done it before, but all these other board members, well, 2 of them work for a living. So would anybody opposed to this like to speak? Yes, ma'am, come on up
Yes.
to the podium
My
and give
name
your
is-
name and address for the
My name is
record.
Carla McCullum. I live at 1842 Wolf Trails. I'm 3/4 of a mile from where this proposed location is going to be. The other house in the area is exactly 2 miles from just 2 miles from where this location will be. I am completely opposed to this for several reasons. The main reason is it is literally right across the street from the sports complex. I run up and down that road every day. I'm a long-distance runner. I see the traffic. There's children riding their bikes. There's no way an additional 10-person house and their staff is not going to cause a problem with traffic on that road. There's nowhere to put a parking lot on that residence. So, I had a whole speech planned out here, but I have 11 grandchildren. They ride their bike up and down that road all the time. I just feel as though the additional vehicles and traffic and whatnot from this house will cause too many problems with children constantly in and out of that parking lot. I mean, they're literally from here to you, from the parking lot of that house. So I respectfully ask that you consider turning down this conditional permit for the safety of our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have some letters from other residents.
Yes, you can bring them up. We will submit them in evidence. And I have received a letter from Rebecca Brinson and Sarah Ravalette. I move we accept these letters into the public record.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And your board members can look them over. And yes, sir, did you want to speak?
Yes, sir.
Come on up. And give your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jacob McCollum, 617 Green Road. I appreciate the opportunity to come before the body and just say a couple words. I know we're short on time, so I'll try to speak rather quickly. The thing is, I know that there could be a very emotional set of pleas back and forth on a topic like this. I've spent 16 years in the Indiana Army National Guard. I'm a field grade officer, and I understand that things don't come down to emotional decision-making. Things come down to procedural decision-making, and that's why this body exists. The fact of the matter is, it's an unfair use to say that the Rucker Sports Complex is an acceptable parking solution for a business. What if I wanted to open, what if the nail salon had been across the street from that? You denied that. I couldn't park over there at the sports complex, but this provisional use you could? That doesn't make a lot of sense. You're obviously familiar enough with the current zoning to know that this provisional use does constitute a room and board property. And under the new and forthcoming UDO, it wouldn't even be considered for such a use. It wouldn't be a thing. It wouldn't be able to come before the body for that conditional use. If you take a look at the property, and it's kind of hard to tell in the little picture here, but the fact of the matter is the front yard is no more than 15 feet from the doorstep, from the concrete pad. You can't park in the yard according to the current ordinances. The side parking, maybe there's room for 2 vehicles. Well, daggone, I live in an area where you have to shuffle cars in and out, and you know darn well pulling in and out of Green Road like that, that's just not gonna work. And the reality is, we can say that there's not going to be a lot of vehicular traffic or a need for parking in a facility like this. But if you've got 10 people there that are supposedly in recovery, and it's not just a drug clubhouse, the fact of the matter is that you're going to need to park a staff, visitors, residents, clergy, medical response vehicles, law enforcement officers, and anybody else that needs to come in and out of there. I think it's unreasonable and unfair to say that we're going to use public property for the administration of this business. Frankly, I think that if you, we talk about, if we want to bring up the whole internet thing, I don't like internet fights and all this stuff, but I do enjoy reading them. I will continue to issue the challenge that I issue if we want to talk about the emotions of it instead of just the rules and regulations of it. If somebody could bring me verified and meaningful studies that these recovery houses work and that the local recovery houses are not anything more than organized financial fraud, I myself will write checks to support these things. But just saying, oh, there's studies. What are these studies? I urge you to take a look at the recidivism rates at the existing houses. I ask you to take a look at the folks administering these programs. This is all anecdotal, of course, but I would say if you walked in and tested the folks running these other houses, they wouldn't be able to pass a drug test. But that's not the point. The point is, unfortunately, this facility does not meet the criteria because of the parking. There's no more than 10 or 15 feet. The side thoroughfare that leads into the property going behind it, you could maybe stack 2 very small vehicles in there. It's an unfair use to say that we're going to use the extremely busy sports complex. I have 2 kids that I take to soccer matches up there, and daggone it, if you ever tried to take a kid in the middle of summer during soccer season, you know, you may as well just park at home and walk down Green Road to the sports complex. It's full. That's all I have to say. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Was there, yes, ma'am?
My name is Connie McCullum, 507 Miles Ridge Road. First of all, I want to say that I've been in addiction recovery work for many decades. I ran the addiction recovery program at the prison. I created the reentry program for the prison that exists today. I've created much reentry work for jails across this entire region. So I want to tell you that I'm not against transitional housing. I'm not against recovery. I work, and a lot of people that are here today in support of this, I have worked with, but I am against the location of this house. I do want to go back and say that Sherilyn gave some very rosy statistics, but there are other statistics. 68%, according to SAMHSA, 68% of people that enter into recovery in transitional housing fail within the first several months. So, what happens when these people fail? What are the measures in place? What are they going to do about that? Where is the security? Also, what about the people that are working at the recovery house and doing the program? What is their credentialing? What is their track record? What is their record with the rest of the recovery homes? I too have been looking for the needs assessment for this program, and the company that I work for put people through recovery coaching. It's a 2-week program. You get a little certificate. Does that make you an expert? Does that give you the expertise to manage others in this incredible setting? So, you know, I'm worried that program management, do they have the right credentials and history? People that are coming in, are they going to stay clean? And all of this, I'm not against transitional housing, but it's right in front of a park. Do you want all of this happening in front of the sports complex where hundreds of families bring their kids? Many of them drop their kids off. Is this what we want? Is this what we want people to see? A recovery home where we know people are going to fail. We know it. And the statistic is the majority of them will fail before they complete. Is this what we want in front of the park? My suggestion would be to deny the park location and put the house somewhere else where there's more privacy for the women, where there's more serenity for the women. Do you want a busy park back and forth while these women are trying to put their lives together? Is that what we want? No. No, this is a recipe for disaster and failure. And again, I state this not because I'm against recovery, I'm all for it. But from my experience and my expertise and from my window, what I'm seeing, this is going to be a failure and it's going to be a disaster. Thank you.
Mrs. Miller, would you like to come up and answer?
I think there's one more person that wants to.
Sure, why not? Would you like to speak, sir? Come on up.
My name is Douglas McDonald. I live at 815 Linear Drive. I live right next, adjoining to that property. And I'm going to say, I'm not against it. I keep hearing you all. But it's not the best location for it. Because My kids, I have 2 kids. My neighbors had 3 kids. We all cut through that property between our house and our fence to go to the sport complex. And I've had witnessed and seen drug deals go on in that park, right across from the house. You know how it goes, sleight of hand with money, and I've seen it. Cops can't get there, make it fast enough to get them. They're gone. With, I'm saying it's right, Recovery House? Am I saying it right? I just want to make sure, I'm sorry. What, the women there, what are they also going to be bringing, company-wise? Yeah, after hours, there's still people going to be coming around. I'm not going to go on and on and on. I know we're short of time. I don't think it's the best location because of the park. Plus you have a company, a factory for disabled kids
It's a
working.
glass company.
I think it's on across the Sandstone.
Yes,
Sandstone.
that disabled people work there too. And plus with our neighborhood kids. I don't think it's the best location. That's where I'm gonna stop, because I know we're short of time.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Somebody at the back.
someone else like to speak against it? We'll
Couple.
give equal time to, oh, yes, come on up, sir.
Thank you. I'll be very, very quick, I promise. So my name is Clinton Tolbert. I'm the owner of Glass Unlimited, the direct neighbor to this. I just want to say I do not oppose this program. I've heard everybody here, a lot of facts, a lot of emotion. I get all of that. My only concerns are just the logistics behind a 10-person facility at this location, just like everybody else. Considering the adjacency to my business, I just request that consideration is to be given to those logistics and to be sure that there's a clear plan in place that the whole community in that area, Sandstone, Glass Unlimited, the new preschool, the park, all those logistics are just fully understood and that there's a plan to, so we're all on the same page if this were to move forward. That's all I request. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir, back there. Mr. Officer.
Good evening. My name is Mr. Martinez, and even though I don't live close to this area, I do live in Walnut. I bought a bunch of properties, and that for some reason they all end up on Walnut. When it's finished, done, or evicted, or don't follow through the program, most of them, out of 68, I would say 50% end up in Walnut. And there's a lot of homeless, a lot of people sleeping on the streets, fighting in front of our houses, in front of the rentals, and we just don't need that. I'm opposed to having one anymore. We have so many already, and they all end up, for some reason, they're drawn because of the soup kitchen, and that's a magnet for them. And although I believe we should help people, I'm a big contributor to that facility there, but we have more than our share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Officer, you want to speak?
Yes, Warren Oxer, 3611 West Ohio Riverview Road, Hanover. And one item, I am in favor of recovery houses, support that. I don't support the location of this particular house. And the one thing I wanted to point out that I think needs to have some consideration, currently the property there is zoned R8, which is medium density residential. Under your new zoning classification, that will be an R2 location, which is also medium density residential. In the course of preparing the new UDO, you had a technical committee that spent a great deal of time working on it. One of the things they looked at and they put together when they did that, they added a particular use to your table of uses, which is now called recovery residence. That's listed in your uses. There's no longer a rooming and boarding house listing. That would fall elsewhere. And when you look at recovery residences under the new UDO, if it was in effect today, this use would not be permitted in an R2 zoning district. It is prohibited. It would not be a conditional use. It would not be exceptional use. So I believe they've taken a hard look and have reached the conclusion recovery residencies do not fit with a residential area. And when you look at this particular residential area, the guidelines as far as meeting the on-site parking that would be needed and the various setbacks that are in your current ordinances for the parking, there's not been anything demonstrated that those parking would be permitted. It doesn't state in your ordinance the parking could be across the street, so on and so forth. It specifically states on-site certain setbacks and so forth from property lines and so forth, and there's not a way to meet it. It's not a question of whether recovery residents are good, bad, or whatever. You know, the question is land use, and does this recovery residence fit in an R2 zoning district? And I would ask you to deny it because I don't believe it does. And under the new UDO, the question wouldn't even be before you.
Ms. Williams, would you care to comment
On the proposed UDOs that
on
we're saying?
what Mr. Officer said, that under the new UDO, it would
So-
not be allowed at all?
Yeah, within, under the new UDO, the way it's proposed now, it would be considered recovery residence, to kind of try to get the more modern term for that nowadays. Sorry. So it would be a special exception with specific standards under Ag, RA, R3, which is your current R32, as well as your local business, general business, and CBD.
Ms. Manning?
My name is Tammy Hagemeyer. I was asked to come this evening, probably because I'm an RN that specialized in alcohol and drug rehab and recovery. And the problem that I see for you folks, that I feel a great deal of concern for you, is you're approving a house, but you have no say on what the program is. So for those of you who don't know, we had a death in the Jefferson house. We've had all types of problems in our other recovery homes. I like recovery homes. I think they're essential, but you're approving a house blindly, not knowing what the program is. We can have someone stand up in front of you and say, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, but the reality is those things haven't been done, and they currently are not required as part of the city process. So I would encourage you to look at having, maybe revamping some of those applications along with your UDO, and giving some consideration to the fact that you approve the house. Once you approve it, you have no say on what happens in that program. So I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
We've had quite a few. Ms. Miller, would you like to come up and address? Seems one of the big things is parking.
Yeah, that seems to be the main issue.
The last issue brought up by Ms. Hagmeyer was the guarantee of what the program is and who runs it. Would you care to address that?
I don't know what, I sent you guys our handbook that outlines what the program is going to look like. I explained that we would be certified through the Department of Mental Health and Recovery Works. Those are state licensing certification boards. I don't know what else to tell you besides, I mean, that's a lot more oversight than what the current houses have.
How often would the state inspect your facility? Do they inspect it on a regular basis, or do they
I don't know if
just drop
that's
in?
annual or it might be every 3 years. I'm not positive about that.
Board members, any other questions?
Well, my biggest concern, I looked at it, was the traffic. Green Road is very busy. Speed bumps on it, supposed to be down. I had 10 more cars, a very questionable parking situation. I'm just down the bar of the
There's no scenario where there would be 10 cars.
I looked at it, I drive, I've been to Fort Concord, I've been to parking spot. I've been through all that. I have very, and I do not like this. I want you to do it, but there is not. It's not gonna work.
Well, during the day, there would be the staff, one car belonging to a staff member. And, I mean, I can't predict, but I just know from like in the past, with my experience at another women's recovery residence, like at any given time, there might have been 2 people there with a car. There might have been, I mean, if there were 3, that was an exception. So they're just not in a position in life where they have cars or even a driver's license usually.
If it was just a normal house, you could expect 2 to 3 cars there. If it was just someone living there.
For me, the issue is on the weekends. If they're allowed to have visitors only on the weekends, that's when Green Road really gets busy, especially in the summer. So I really don't think that the remedy of being able to park cars over at the sports complex, I don't see that as a viable option.
I noticed now, I believe that house still has a for sale sign.
Yeah, we have not
purchased
purchased it yet.
You haven't purchased
It's all contingent on zoning, conditional use permit and stuff.
Any other questions or comments, board members?
I do have several people here who would like to speak on behalf of the program, recovery residences, if they would have an opportunity to
Sure.
speak.
Well, we had, I believe, 4 people speak against. So why don't you just pick out 3 people who would like to speak for? Equal time, pretty much.
Hi, my name is Maggie Parks, and I live at 2551 Franks Drive. And I want to be the voice of one of those women that have successfully completed one of the recovery programs here in Madison, because you're looking at one of them right now. And what I want to stress is the importance of these programs in Madison, because I was born and raised here. And had it not been for a recovery program, then I would probably be back in jail or back in prison, because that's where I came to. I attended another recovery home here in Madison, and that was in 2021. And what I want to tell you is that program helped me to be who I am today. There is no way that I would ever be speaking in front of a board of directors or anything like that before today if it was not for the program and the hard work that I put in to become a productive member of society. And today I own my own home. I have, I have a car. I have a wonderful job. I work in environmental labs as a lab tech team lead. And me and my husband also have custody of our granddaughter. And I would have never been able to do those things had it not been for a recovery program. So I just want to speak of how that is such a benefit to our town, because it's a social problem. Whether anybody wants to really look at addiction or not, it is a social problem. And you can look at it through so many different social perspective lenses. And that's why so many different people have so many different perspectives on what works, what doesn't work, all kinds of different perspectives on it, is because it can be viewed in so many different lenses. But, I just want to be the voice of all those women that are going to need this. And just because the 68%, failed, the great thing about statistics is that they can be changed. And they can be changed by programs like this. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Baer, and I live at 553 Miller Street. So, I am one of the ones that has came through the Roof Haven program here. I graduated the program. I work with substance abuse and mental health every single day. I'm not going to get up here and say that I know all of these codes and stuff about parking and all that. But what I do know is that recovery does work. I'm sitting in here tonight with my daughter, who my whole family's life has been changed because of recovery. I am going through criminal law myself, and I detect recovery does work. And I know probably anybody in this room tonight could sit here and say that at least one person in their family has recovered because of recovery. And I know all these women, whoever is to come into this county and the city, we should at least have to give them a chance, because it does work.
Take one or two more folks who'd like to speak for this application.
John Fort Wendell. I live up on Interstate Block Road. I am a 3955 West Interstate Block Road, for the record. I moved here about 8 years ago to Madison. When I moved here, my wife was pregnant with our first child. I was kind of scared to death. I was very early in recovery. And about 8 months after I moved here, I actually had a slip up. And 3 days later, I checked myself into the Jefferson House down here. There was a completely different director there at the time. The program was different than what it is now. Now it features a more faith-based concept and things like that. When I went through it, we worked the 12, it was a 12-step program. I can tell you that today I have worked at the same job here in 1 month. It'll be 4 years at a place that's been operational here in Madison for 100 years. I actually am a leader over one of the most important lines in that factory on day shift, day in, day out. I am trusted with a whole lot of things. I used to live in my car. I used to not be able to, wasn't trusted with anything by anybody, including my own family. And I can tell you that not only does recovery work, but recovery houses work. And, I get the obstacle about parking. And expanding the driveway a little bit, laying down some new gravel there in between that business that the young man came up and spoke about. I feel like there would be some solutions to some of these problems. If Green Road is so busy and all the kids are riding their bikes up and down it, I feel like that's dangerous. You know what I mean? I don't see how you can have it both ways. Also, with the people that I know that I just heard about, like money laundering and other things, the people that I know that are on this board, most of them are certified in peer recovery specialists. We have an attorney on the board. We have licensed therapists on the board, all with experience in addiction recoveries. Honestly, it's one of the better put together boards that I've seen that know the disease and know recovery inside and out. To be honest, there's not. Like any program, I'm sure that there'll be some hiccups and things like that will need to be, corrected as time goes. But I personally have full faith in the program, and whether it be here or somewhere, it's coming. I know that, and Madison needs it. It breaks my heart. Downtown, driving around, especially during the summertime, a lot of the homeless people are out and about, and not all that's due to drug addiction, but I'm sure that somewhere throughout their story, just like many people in here, it's affected them in one way or another, whether it be yourself, whether it be a family member, a friend, or whatever. I know that, I lost my cousin 3 years ago, as of a couple days ago, from fentanyl overdose, and it's needed here. It is. It's right here. It's right here in little old Madison. Big problem. Shows up every day.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
sir.
Thanks.
Seems like so far, obviously, everybody is in favor of a recovery house, but there seems to be
I did pull up the PVA data too, just in case that helps to see where it's GIS, so the lines are gonna be approximate, but you can see where that parcel is versus Google.
seems like the major objection, parking, is relatively minor and can easily be addressed in a motion. But it seems like a lot of people think that while recovery is 32% of the time anyway successful, and that it's a good thing and it's needed, but this specific house seems to be an issue. So would anybody like to say why this specific location is a very good thing? That I would ask somebody who might want to address that. Not about whether recovery is a good thing, but why this specific location is optimal.
Okay, so, my guess is no matter where we try to put a house, there's gonna be some people who have all of these same concerns and issues. Does somebody have a suggestion? Does somebody have a good location for this house? Because we'd love to find it. We've been looking, we spent over a year looking for a place. This is a house that fits the needs it has enough space and fits the needs for what we're trying to do.
Does it have to be 10 women? Could you go fewer women?
We could go fewer women. This particular house just happens to be enough space for 10 women. If it was 8, it's 8. We like the hilltop location because, speaking from experience, dealing with houses that have been downtown, a lot of the people work on the hilltop. They get jobs in factories, Madison Precision, and Arvin Sango and these places, and it's a huge barrier for them to get up the hill and get to work. Paying a cab gets very expensive because most of them don't have vehicles. So being on the hilltop helps alleviate some of that problem with them being able to get to work. We now have some nice sidewalks on Michigan Road and Clifty Drive, and the ability to walk to some of those places of employment is that's a benefit to being on the hilltop as well. I wanted to mention quickly, I forgot to mention this earlier, I don't remember who it was that had the concern, a couple people mentioned the concern about kids being at the park, and I don't know if they think that women in this program are going to be getting drugs and going over there and trying to give drugs to kids or deal their drugs to kids. I guess that's the concern, but they're within a mile of the sports complex and the park. There's 10 registered sex offenders. I'd be way more concerned about those people going over to the park and preying on children than drug dealers. So.
Wait a minute, folks.
Do most of the programming happen though inside? I mean, are the women outside that often, to be honest with you? Because downtown, I don't think they are. How many are downtown? Do you know?
The programming takes place inside the house or out at AA and NA meetings in the community, at local mental health centers, Life Spring, Centerstone, those type places. That's where the programming is taking place. I do understand the concern about parking. I mean, it's obviously, we've discussed it too. It's not, it's not ideal for parking, but that's, we are willing to look into whatever options. We also know that parking across the street at the complex isn't ideal. That is a temporary solution that was discussed with the Parks Department that they were fine with until we, are in a position where we need extra parking and, have time to look more into that and remedy that situation. Like I said earlier, we want to be good neighbors. We're not trying to come into the neighborhood and cause problems or be disruptive or anything like that. I have the experience of having worked with these programs before, and I just know that was not a problem. It's not a disruption to the neighborhood.
Are you affiliated at all with Ruth Haven?
Not currently. I was a founding board member of Ruth Haven and was involved with that organization for probably 10 years or more.
Any other questions, concerns, board members?
So with the new UDO, this would not be allowed in there?
not within what we would call the R1 or R2 districts, which is currently R4 and R8, I believe, off the top of my head. Districts, and it's just more of a density type of thing typically is why, when we went through that with the committee. Again, these can vary in size. They could be just a couple of folks, or they could be a lot larger than 10, right? So it's just more of a density is typically why that got within that category.
So are we I assume we're under the current.
Yes, you filed your application under the current ordinance, so you are following, even if it changed tomorrow, you know, you would still be following the current ordinance at the time you filed. So that's what we had placed in.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we've heard plenty of arguments. The main opposition is about parking. Heavily traveled street by kids, and it seems, from what I'm hearing, nobody is opposed to the concept, but there's some opposition to the location. And as I mentioned before, a number of years ago, that house over there, East 2nd, paving house. I heard much of the same opposition, well, not so much about parking there, but that house, to my knowledge, it's almost a case where nobody even knows who's in it. In fact, I drove by it last week and saw a light on it. I'd never even seen a light on in that place. So, if this board, big if, this board would approve it, it would be for a period of time, it would be subject to conditions which could address parking, you know. In a conditional use permit, you can say, condition no parking off property. You can, in a conditional use permit, you can say how many cars are allowed there at any one time. 2 cars, typical for a house. And you can also specify that they have to follow the program that they presented. And when you make a conditional use with various other conditions like that, then you neighbors, if you find somehow they violated it, you can always come back and complain. It's happened here. I remember famously, there was a hotel out on East Main Street that evolved into essentially a drug addict flop house. And people just utterly blew up in a city council meeting, and that hotel is a beautiful thing now. Because the offending owner decided it was far better to, leave Dodge and keep this thing going on. So, if all I'm saying is if the board were to approve, there are conditions and there are remedies for abuses. And if you come before the Board of Zoning Appeals, you have to say this is a $50 courtroom, it's not a $5,000 courtroom. And this board has enough authority that it can begin litigation against abuses. So there is some, even if it were approved, you do have remedies for abuses. But once again, I'll iterate that I have seen, I've heard people with concerns very similar to yours on that Ruth Haven house. And in a number of years it's been there, there has never been a problem to my knowledge, inside or outside. Now, what the percentage of women in that house over there fail or succeed, I don't know. But from the point of view of the neighbors, you have to have a way that you can remedy abuses. And I think that if we were to approve this, that you would have a way to remedy things. And then if it works perfectly and nobody makes any trouble and you don't even know they're there, well, then that obviates the need for remedies. That's all I have to say.
Scott, before we go into any board discussions, can we just verify if someone did get a mailer, like the actual mail, certified mail? Just according to your rules, making sure that they do have the opportunity to speak if they got the mailer itself.
Did you all?
Yeah, no, two did, but if anybody else who got one wanted to speak, I just wanted to make sure that they have the opportunity, specifically just since they were an adjoiner.
Yeah, those notices are mailed out to adjacent property owners. So if you live not adjacent, you get
Yeah, two. Just because your rules state that they do get to specifically speak, so.
We've heard plenty of discussion.
Let me ask Ms. Miller one more question. Ms. Miller, you said there are visiting hours on weekends. Okay, and what are those exact hours? Or have you set them yet, or do you have the time you think you'd have them?
If you'd come up to the microphone, so
Visiting hours are designated between 12 and 6 with no more than a 4-hour visit. But it would have to be in that time frame.
On both weekends?
On Saturday, you could have a visit on Saturday or Sunday if you were a resident of the program.
12 p.m. and 6 p.m.
Most of the time, because they're able to earn weekend passes to go off, to go visit their family, go home, go wherever, that's usually what they do. They don't want to stay there on the weekends. They usually go, but those visiting hours are there for the ones who haven't phased up yet and able to leave grounds.
And you said they have to call beforehand, so it's not people just going to show up?
Right.
Ma'am, is your handbook, is that available for public to look at? Thank you. And I have one other question, ma'am. Sorry.
Yeah.
Could you tell me another, you say you've had experience using the rules in this handbook. Could you give us another place, another recovery place location?
Like another recovery residence, like in another town, or?
Well, where, someplace else that these rules apply.
Well, so, I mean, these are our specific rules for our specific program. They are very similar to rules in other programs, but, you know, like there's Genesis House over in Corydon that has a very similar handbook to ours. Breakaway in New Albany is another one that has a similar handbook to ours. I mean, those are women's recovery residents. There are men's, like House of New Beginnings over in Corydon. Help me, guys. Bliss House in Jeffersonville.
So your board and your organization, is this your first venture?
This specific board, yes. But there are some people on the board who have experience and have been involved with other recovery residences. We have a person on our board right now who is also on a board of a similar residence in Harrison County. But people have different experience levels.
And could, I assume your board members have public knowledge?
Yep. Yes.
So if neighbors or concerned people want to see who's on the board and their...
Yeah, everybody's listed on our Facebook page, Recovery Foundation of Southern Indiana, but I'm also happy to share that list with anybody. Yep.
So if the neighbors had an issue, is there a contact person that is readily available?
Anybody on our board. And as soon as, I mean, whenever the house is up and running, it would be, you know, whoever we have working there as the director of the house.
You said somebody's there 24 hours, correct?
There'd be somebody there during the day, and then a different person will stay there at night.
And just driving by, you're not going to have any sign, you won't even know?
But the person at night is somebody that lives there, right?
Yes. Well, not in the program, but there will be it'll be somebody who like has a bed there, and sleeps there, stays there at night, that's their job at night, is to make sure people are in by curfew, make sure there's nothing going on, it's not supposed to be happening, nobody prowling around outside. I mean, like I said, we will have cameras, and those will be able to be monitored by phone as well, by anybody, involved with the program, but, just to make sure that things are on the up and up through the evening and nighttime hours.
Thank you. Sure. I guess that's, we've had plenty of comment from on, so in interest of time, I think we'll declare the comment session closed. This is a conditional, let me get this straight here. This is a conditional use permit application under category 121, rooming and boarding house, current zoning ordinance, best application. Go through our findings of fact. And since this is an issue of some controversy, normally we would just, in interest of time, I would just go down the list here, which you can easily find on the internet, or you can ask our secretary. Normally I would just say, do you have any objections, board members, but we'll go through it for the sake of everybody involved here. So number one, is 121 the correct conditional use category? Mr. Ferris?
The current ordinance, yes.
Mrs. Burkhart?
Yes.
Mr. Egan?
Yes.
And I believe that's the closest one. Number two, do you agree this will be harmonious with and in accordance with the general objectives, the specific objectives of the comprehensive plan? Time out. There is a comprehensive plan that was written for Madison. There's a copy of it here. And if you wish to read it, you paid for it. It's your property. You can read it. It's no secret. We don't hide things here. And you can see one of the staff members if you want to read it. It's about yay thick. And the zoning ordinance is also part of it. End of comment. So do you agree this is harmonious with in accordance to the general objectives or specific objectives of the comprehensive plan? Mr. Ferris?
I do. I think it's a, definite need in our community, and I think it does fit in the comprehensive plan.
Mrs. Burkhart?
I think it does fit in comprehensive.
Mr. Eaglin? And the general objectives, that's a tough one for me to answer because I'm not so certain the comprehensive plan directly addresses recovery centers, so I'm going to remain neutral on that one. Number three, do you board members agree this will be designed, constructed, maintained, harmonious, appropriate in appearance with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity? Such use will not change the essential character of the same area. Pick one, comment, throw in your reasons. Mr. Ferris?
Well, as far as the construction and design, I don't know that we've really seen a lot of information about what their plans are with the structure, but the intended character and general vicinity, I don't think that's met. I don't think that fits the general character of that vicinity.
Mrs. Burkhart?
I don't think it'll change the essential character. I live across from the youth shelter. I live a block and a half from another residential facility. I don't think it's changed the character of the vicinity.
My experience with it, as I explained to you, is with that Ruth Haven house, I was in the meeting where that thing was voted on, and to my knowledge, there has never been any adverse effects from that. So, the general character of that area, it's a sports complex, it's a small business, it's some residential, it's access to more residential on further on toward the west. So, but on the other hand, the Ruth Haven House is in certainly a less densely used area out on the east side, speaking from my experience. So, I don't know, I would have to say it's probably not the best use. Number 4. Oh yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Sorry.
Okay,
You don't pay much for me, you don't get much.
It's not our money.
Number 4. You agree this will not be hazardous or disturbing to existing or future neighboring uses? Mr. Ferris?
You know, I think with the track record of previous applications that have come before this board, and you've commented on it several times, I don't see this as being disturbing to the neighbors or the neighborhood.
Mrs. Burkhart?
No, I don't think it would be disturbing.
Mr. Eaglin?
I think it's just a parking situation. Anything that's working, it's easy to do. Like working, that's the kind of work it's easy to do, doesn't bother them to do.
And given what I've seen of a similar use on the other side of town, I think that one's met. Number 5, this is the one, are there adequate public facilities, utilities, all that kind of stuff? Mr. Ferris?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the services could easily accommodate, this house. I mean, a family of 10 could buy this house, renovate it, and move in. So, I think that's good.
Mrs. Burkhart?
Yes, that one's fine.
Mr. Eaglin? And I see absolutely no issues there. I think that was met. Number 6, do you agree this will not create excessive requirements of public expense, public facilities and services, not detrimental to the economic welfare of the community? Mr. Ferris?
I don't see any issues there. I'll address my concerns and some of these other facts.
Mrs. Burkhart?
No, I don't see a problem with that.
Mr. Eaglin?
Well, they've already said that we need public parking.
And in my opinion, with appropriate limitations on any motion, I don't think there will be any problem. Number 7, you agree this will not involve uses, activities, process, materials, equipment, conditions of operation that are detrimental to any person's property or the general welfare by excess production of traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glare, odors? Mr. Ferris?
No, I don't think there's any issues there. The traffic on that road is already busy, so again, a family of 10 could move in there, and we normally approve, a situation like that. So I don't see traffic being an issue.
Mrs. Burkhart?
I don't either. We can put conditions to limit the number of cars that they would have.
Mr. Eaglin? And I think that would be a minimal issue, so I think that one's met. Number 8, This is about having vehicular approaches to the property, not creating an interference with traffic on surrounding roads, public thoroughfares. Mr. Ferris.
I do have concerns about the vehicular approaches, but I think if we word a motion adequately, I think that can be addressed.
Mrs. Burkhardt.
I agree with Mr. Ferris's comment.
Mr. Eaglin. And in my view, that would not be much of an issue, so I think that's met. Number 9, the last one, destruction, loss, or damage of natural, scenic, historic features, major importance. Mr. Ferris.
Well, I would hope that the applicant is going to improve the maintenance on this house and do what she said, and that's be a good neighbor. You know, don't run a nuisance.
Mrs. Burkhardt.
I don't see an issue with that.
Mr. Eaglin. And I don't think that's an issue at all, really. Well, we've gone through our findings of fact. I might remind the board members it's considered that if you have gone through the 9, each of you has gone through the 9 criteria, and if you think that one of them fails, then it's generally considered you would not vote for it. But I want to reiterate, you can vote any way you want for the board members. So, and if we make a motion, we can either make a motion to allow it for a set amount of time with conditions, make us to give concerned people as much opportunity to correct abuses, or we can make a motion just to flat out deny it. And since this is a 5-member board, 3 votes determines whatever happens. I mean, we have no people, so good. So, take a motion. Do you have a second?
I second that.
Okay, and do we have a roll call? Oh, wait, let's make sure. The motion is to deny, so if you vote yes on the motion, it means you want to deny it.
Correct.
So yes means no.
Denial. Correct. All right, Rick Ferris?
Yes.
Scott Baldwin?
Yes.
Nancy Burkhardt? No? And Carl?
So that's 3 votes against and 1 vote for, so the motion conditional use failed.
The motion was to deny it, so
To deny.
the application was therefore denied with a 3-to-1 vote. Right? Verified.
So, ma'am, your next move, either try to find something else, probably if the new zoning ordinance passes, I see that if, because it's political. If it passes, you probably couldn't use that house anyway. And if I read the crowd correctly, nobody's opposed to what you're doing. The opposition is as to where it was. So apparently you have, in my view, you have community support for what you're doing, but somehow you gotta find a place to do it. So, thank you folk for your input. Now, there are probably many of you who are here for this application, so we're gonna take a 1-minute recess while you, if you wanna leave, you can leave. Please, just go somewhere and don't make noise so that the rest of the people can be heard. Yep, that's a fact.
No, the one down on talk about it, get my I can never know, I go private. And like you, almost like.
know it's there.
Yeah, you know it's there.
Same from you, Shelter, we don't know it's there.
Okay, it was perfect, it was that was, so that.
But there was huge opposition to it.
Yeah, well, because people are scared.
Oh, was there? I wasn't there
Yeah,
on the board.
they don't want it in their neighborhood.
Yep. There's a guy convinced there'd be howling
Yep.
boyfriends outside. 2 o'clock in the morning.
I don't really, the supervision, that's different. But you still can't get like that.
If you folks are leaving, would you leave?
Wait, get out of here,
My daughter tested butter and it did not so.
Yep. We declare our 1-minute recess over.
Okay. Ring a bell, Sister Francine, that's what I was used to.
Back to school, children.
Okay, all right.
Okay, if we could bring the meeting to order. Next item on the agenda is BZCU-25-29, Fred Lowe and Bruce and Cheryl Tandy, requesting a conditional use approval under number 476, relay towers and transmitting stations, to make a new telecom tower at 316 North Goins Road. So, somebody come up, give your name and address for the record, explain what you're doing.
Hi, my name's Fred Lau, with Chaley Tower Consultants here representing TAG Towers. We are applying for a special exception on the Tandy's property. The new address, I guess, is 316 Goins Road. I usually try to walk through just a little bit how we got here. Basically, I am a contractor, and I get contacted when a carrier identifies a problem area or what they call a gap area in their service coverage. And then they contact a tower company and my office, and we work together to look at two things. One, where they want to be, and if we can acquire property rights in a place that will meet their coverage needs, the improvement they're trying to do. The second thing we try to do is make sure we meet the zoning requirements that you all have in place to try to make sure that we don't have to go through any unnecessary steps. So in this case, we talked to the Tandys and we're able to come to an agreement on leasing that property for this intent of putting in a communications tower at that corner. We also had the RF group review the location that we chose to make sure it would work for them on a technical basis to fill in that gap that I talked about. The original proposal was for a 250-foot self-support tower, and we had the RF review that for two reasons. In this situation, we have the airport overlay that's very close to us as well. So we wanted to limit the height of the tower as much as we could. So we lowered that tower height to 195 foot with a 4-foot lightning rod, and we also got FAA determination of no hazard result back, which I also submitted, which indicates we don't have to light the pole, and they have found it to be no hazard in the location that we put it relative to the airport. So that was one thing that we really wanted to make sure we had in our pocket before we went any further with the design. We've submitted zoning drawings. Hopefully you guys have seen those. And this is part of that zoning drawing. We are utilizing what was already basically a corner of that field that had some equipment, some outbuildings that was removed recently. And we're using an existing, what was the ag drive, or at least a close proximity to what was already used for the farming equipment to access the property. One thing that we also did, Indiana state statute says that the setback for a tower needs to be defined by engineering design letter, so we did go ahead and submit an engineering design letter. That design letter was uploaded and indicates that the fall radius for this tower, which means the radius that it would actually occupy if in the unlikely event that it would fail basically bending over on itself and within 50-foot radius of the tower, which keeps it confined to that property that it's on. This is an unmanned facility, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. My RF engineer did submit a statement of need that we uploaded as well, and basically he's just trying to improve dead areas between two of their existing sites. They're near Highway 56. We also submitted propagation maps showing the current level of service from what their data shows, and then the resultant coverage after this site is built. This site is designed for more than one carrier. The intent is always to maximize the number of carriers on any given pole. And one thing that I didn't mention, when we first started trying to fill this gap, trying to find a property, we did look to see if there was any existing structures that we could just co-locate on, because that's quicker to market and lower cost for us, but there were none available, which is why we went to a proposed structure.
How much, there are a bunch of, I think that's a 765,000 volt transmission line goes down close there.
Okay.
And your tower, compared to the height of those towers, how much taller is it than the power towers?
I wouldn't know for sure, but I think my experience is those are about 75 foot, 80 foot, so we're going to be about twice as high-ish. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not, I mean, I know that's on the record now, but that is my best recollection.
Okay.
But they're smaller in size though compared to those towers.
Yeah. The tower that we propose is got a footprint, the face size is about 25 to 30 foot per side of that triangle. And it all fits in within that 75 foot by 75 foot compound.
Do you put provision for Madison's public service needs there, like a repeater for the police or the fire or anything like that?
Yes, we've done that in the past. No, we don't have that written into the contract, but typically the municipality will contact the tower company and work out a reasonable contract. You have to sign a lease to sort of like covered, but we do it all the time. And typically, if they don't need the tip top of the tower, it's absolutely no problem. So, say they needed a repeater at 80 feet, that doesn't take up any space that's needed for anybody else. And that's always...
So this would accommodate something like that?
Yes, sir.
In addition?
Yes, you just have to go through the contractual stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure it's okay, but yeah.
So the tower has the possibility of making sure Madison's emergency communications is better.
Yes. Yes, that's one of the reasons we design it for more than one carrier, is to make sure that we don't run into a situation where somebody needs it and we can't structurally handle it, and now it's a cost issue all the way around. So that's why we built the compound a little bit bigger than we needed. We also built the tower a little bit stronger than we needed.
Do you have any other towers around the area here that you're thinking of?
The TAC towers is built not in the immediate vicinity. We built them all through Kentucky, Ohio, and Michigan. Certainly would be fairly easy to get one almost identical, I would think. But I don't know one within driving distance of Madison. We are getting ready to build one in Bloomington, but it's not built yet, so that don't help me.
Have you ever had a tower hit by a tornado?
Well, I haven't personally, but if you go back and look at what happened to Joplin, Missouri, and if you look at photos of the after effects of those, The only things that will be standing is the towers, and everything else is pretty much wiped out. So from that experience and what I've seen in the field, these are very safe and not meant to fall down. Again, we have the fall design letter basically points out the weakest point in that tower, and this is what's going to happen if it ever came to failure. And basically it just folds in on itself because the weakest point in that leg is about halfway down that tower.
Your proposed generator, I guess you have an equipment room and a generator backup. Will there be a fuel supply
Yes.
at this site?
Yes.
Above ground, below ground?
Above ground, and it will likely, I believe it's designed to be propane.
Okay.
And they show the propane tank on the design here.
Okay.
So, and that's because of the close proximity to the water source to the west.
But most of the time, there will be absolutely no noise or no generator running.
Right. They used to, back in the day, when I started doing this, they would have a big concrete shelter that they would bring in and set it on for about 35,000 pounds and cost them $1 billion, and have two big old HVAC units that would run intermittently, and was problematic because it was louder than your house was, right? Now they've stripped back all that design to be more green and save money. And so now we don't put in a big equipment shelter. There's not a need for large HVAC units. The only noise of any appreciable amount will be when they run that generator on Monday morning at 10 a.m. Just to cycle it. They do that
every week.
Yeah, they do that once a week. And that decibel level is about the same as a household air conditioner.
I know it used to be, you had to pack them full of air conditioning units and all that because of the computer.
Oh, yeah.
And switchgear, they were so large, and now it's almost PC control.
Everything in these cabinets now is all DC.
Yep.
And so the heat dissipation isn't a problem with the DC units. It's just they've stripped it down to where they almost don't need air handlers on them. But they're all external equipment. And like I said, we don't have the big shelters anymore, so that was kind of more convenient for everybody.
Now, who would check your supply tank every now and then? Who comes in and does that? Or is that spent to a transmission?
Yeah, we'll contract it locally.
Okay.
And then our maintenance group, the carrier's maintenance group, will have that monitored.
Okay.
And that's the other thing, there'll be fiber running to this site. They monitor these sites remotely.
Okay.
Very rarely now do you need to send a technician out for really anything equipment-wise. They can make the antenna adjustments remotely. They can monitor basically the entire site to make sure what's going on. And like I said, if they cycle that generator, they don't come out to do it. They just cycle it for 15 minutes and then shut it back down.
So any possible, there is, I think, one house on that bend in the road there, so they would essentially hear nothing.
Correct.
Except for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Once a week.
And traffic to these facilities, like I said, they're all monitored remotely. I always quote, we're going to have one passenger post-construction, one passenger vehicle a month. The guy in the truck may be coming back once a quarter. They'll come out and check and make sure everything's weeded and maintained from a tower perspective.
And how long is your lease for this tower?
50 years.
And you expect?
Total. What's that?
Is that the expected life of the tower?
No, sir. That's just the standard lease length at the moment. These towers will last until we take them down. I know you've seen the big old the original AT&T towers that are four-legged. Those things have been standing since the 70s, and I don't think they're planning on taking them anywhere. There's one right in downtown Terre Haute that I look at every time I drive by. But those things are built to last, and they're galvanized steel, so it fights the corrosion. And yeah, they're good for a good long while. Until Elon Musk figures out how to put us completely out of business.
He's trying in the satellite.
No comment. Board members, any other questions, comments?
The other documentation he referred to, the fall zone FAA clearance, that's all in your digital packet. I did not print out the full thing unless,
I have a printout.
think you do, I think Rick has a full printout too, but that documentation was all in there.
Amy, do you know how we've done these towers before, or what period of time?
I do not, and that's one thing that we've had discussions on in terms of uses. If you're not changing a use and you're not changing anything you're doing about it, the idea of renewing it is a little bit more limited.
We had
So,
a similar
I'm not-
tower, I don't remember what it was a couple of years ago. And it went in, there were a series of 5-year leases, 6 5-year leases for a total of 30 years.
Yeah, same situation.
And so we approved a 30-year conditional use, a 6 5-year renewal.
Was that the one at the Knights of Columbus?
I believe it was.
Oh, well, I was here talking to you about that one. So this is my second
We
time.
haven't seen one there yet.
What's that?
Haven't seen a tower there.
I don't know that they ever built it, but you guys approved it.
We approved it. But that was how it was done for the leasing, the total leasing period agreement, not the life of it.
Yeah, and coming on, I know, again, we've talked a lot about new ordinances and whatnot. Under the new ordinance, under kind of following what state statute would be, in Indiana state statute, not Kentucky, we get a little mixed up here on the river, that if there's a violation, right, of some sort, right, we would go through and we would actually attack that or remedy that through a violation. So that would be a violation notice and following up. It could be litigation if that's the extent it needs to go to. But if you are not changing the use, redoing the use, that renewal is really a moot point, if that makes sense. Because at that point, you can't deny it. If there is an issue, it comes through with enforcement and penalties and, you know what I mean, that aspect with any use, not just the cell tower, but with any of our conditional uses. So, just to point that out, that you don't necessarily need the timeframes on those within that parameter, because, again, and moving forward into the new ordinance, we aren't looking at doing renewals by any means, so.
Any other questions, comments, board members? Would anybody in the audience like to speak for or against this proposed use? No? Then we will see none. We will move on to our findings of fact. This time, board members, in interest of time, I'll just go down the list and ask if, with your permission, of course, I'll ask if anybody disagrees, thinks criterion's not met. Number 1, 476 relay towers. Any problems with that?
No.
Number 2, that's comprehensive plan. Any problems?
No.
Number 3, the existing or general area, harmonious, etc.
Yes.
Any issues?
No.
Number 4, disturbing, hazardous. Any issues?
No.
Number 5, these are the utilities and so forth. Any issues?
No.
Number 6, detrimental to economic welfare. Any issues?
No.
I might add, everything is done on a cell phone today, so no problem there. Number 8, vehicular approaches to property. Any issues?
So maybe once a month for the vehicle, so.
There is no issue. And number 9, loss of natural or beautiful scenic things.
Nope.
Well, having gone through our findings of fact, I move we approve this conditional use, EZCU-25-29, for a period of 30 years, and that it follow the application information. That's my motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we have another cell tower, which is Probably a good thing.
Let's put a dead spot out there somewhere.
I remember when you went to New Wash, you got about a mile south of 56 and you had to get out your signal flag. Next item on the agenda, BZCU-26-01, Angela Kohler, Mark and Angela Kohler, under 749 other recreation, conditional use, construct and operate a campground with owner-occupied primary dwelling, 2 short-term rental structures, 2 low-impact glamping tents, 6 primitive tent sites, small structure, 2 bathrooms and showers. Would you like to come up, ma'am? Explain what you'd like to do? Yes, sir, you too. Give your name and address for the record. And you were here recently.
August? Yeah, just in August, that was, their last one was
August.
approved. It was BZCU 2512.
Well, if you could, there we go.
Can't
For Airbnb house, July of
drawings.
2025.
So is that included in what you're doing now, or is
Just
that
what's in there.
separate? That's one of the, okay.
Okay. So we got, okay. No, it's not. Thank you.
And just for the record, board, we should approve this into the record. I move we accept this handout into the public record.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, go ahead, folks.
So, we're local property owners here, and we currently operate a very successful short-term rental nearby. And we take a lot of pride in that, and maintaining low impact on all of these spaces. We want to clarify that this proposal is not actually a change to short-term rental. It's a low density, no longer concept, conforming as good size and short-term rentals across multiple parcels. The design is intentional to provide be supportive of private development subject generating traffic and impacting natural growth. Our goal is to enhance rural tourism while preserving the character of the units and operating as responsible and company. So the first thing that we have and what we will do is just make a copy of our review for your review so far.
House rule.
Yep, that's,
So there's actually 2 tent sets here. So the first one, this one with like the fancy writing at the top, that is for the 22 unit, or I'm sorry, the actual short-term rental units. And then the next ones are for the tent sites. They're just a little bit.
we have multitudes of Airbnbs and things of this nature, and with rules, to my knowledge, there's been 1 complaint so far. Thank you for the rules. So board members, do you have any questions, comments?
Of course, anytime you have something where there's a lot of activity and this and that and the other, whether you go to a local gym, they do have some safety things like, let's say somebody has a heart attack, those kind of things hanging around. Will you supply those? Because you could have several people here at a particular time.
We actually,
I'm trying to think what they call those yet, whether they.
AD.
Yeah. And of course, I guess you would have good access in case there was a brush fire. There were all the dry areas we had last year in different places. So a brush truck, fire apparatus could get in there fairly easily and all that. Okay. The gate's wide enough. And those, okay. I know David back here will make sure he gets the brush truck in. If he has to bring it in back here. So. Oh, okay. You know what?
So if all of these were fully booked, what's the maximum number of people? For all those? Are you limiting the number of cars that people bring per site? Yes. And how many sites total did you have? 10. So you could have 10 cars max.
No fireworks or anything of that nature.
One thing I know that, to clarify just either way, is you had an approval in August, and you had all of those. You mentioned a number of things in here. Does that include what was approved in August, or is this in addition to? Okay. Okay, just to make sure this includes what was in August, so it's not in addition to. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments, board members? There was another use out there on K Road. There was quite a controversy, to say the least. And a good deal of that revolved around traffic, because that road wasn't much in the horse and wagon days. So, judging by this, you don't expect a whole lot of traffic going in and out.
Okay. Would they be allowed to their own personal generators, or is that going to be too noisy?
So your application says that there's going to be 2 traditionally constructed short-term rental homes. But you just said there wasn't going to be any sewer hookups.
Talking about like septic tank? Oh, they use their own. Okay.
Okay.
And there's going to be a shower facility, if you're building that?
So that's Rikers Ridge, water and sewer, right? Okay, but sewage. Yeah.
Any other questions, comments, board members? Would anyone in the audience like to speak for or against this application? See none, we will declare the comment time. One last chance, board members, if you want to say anything or ask anything. I gotta hand it to you, this is the best set of rules I've ever seen.
So how far are you from the nearest neighbor? Any of these buildings? Like from their
Yeah.
property?
Okay, yeah.
Sure. But maybe on that one.
Okay. Charlie won't bother you, I don't think, will he? Nah.
Our current Airbnb, so we got, so we own this right here.
Yeah.
We have 25 minutes, so this is, this is the open policy. We have this, and we also have this,
Oh. Back on the hillside.
But you have to get to it from like that big turn there?
There is correct, our existing driveway.
So where will the bulk of your buildings and such be?
All the way, all the way back. Sorry, I'm straight. No, yes,
Yeah, it's-
I didn't know if
There it
it was
is.
touch screen.
There you go.
It doesn't seem to, yeah, right. So, yeah, the building, the pole barn building would be right here. So we're trying to rent all that here, and then one right here. So we're occupying the back part of the property.
So you're way off the road then.
Yeah, we do have, yeah, the glamping deck would be right in this area here, but we're still way off the road. We're nowhere near any residence.
So the gate,
Wood back behind us.
but the gate you talk about, is that gonna be right off the road? The gate that you
Yes,
just allow people in and out?
It'll be electronic, so that it's back close to that way.
So somebody will be there all the time to let these people in and out, or they'll have their own little
The same way as far as check-in.
Code.
code?
Until like 9 o'clock, so they'll have to.
Can
And
you-
again,
Can you give that to the fire department also, so they have
yes,
access?
absolutely, yes, 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 and I've already talked to
Oh, have you? Okay. Okay.
our residents will be on property as well, so
Okay.
we will be on site as well.
So that's where you actually lay your head at night, huh?
Will.
Yes. Yes. So, Duke, you know what bamboo is, but Duke has to take out 50 feet of that. Then put in a new pole, and then they're going to get a lift back to the transformer.
Okay.
Step back here.
Sir, if you could,
Yes, it'll be underground, so it's the old pole that's right there, and, so, yeah. Well, the pole is over there. There's that old pole there, we got, we have an option to call it a pole.
David? You want David back here as a question?
Did you get all the slip card?
On this one, yes.
But yeah, that's, they got it.
okay, is somebody else in the audience like, yes, sir, come on up to the front here, would you?
Yeah. Sir?
Sir, would you, come up to the front, please? For the sake of our somewhat not the best in the world TV set.
Dave Smith, 3999. How close is the sewer going to be?
Gotta run a pipe somewhere.
Again, on the front end, it'll tie in if you're on the road and then back to the back. Yes, it is. Yes, that's all in the Yes. Yes.
Folks, if you'd like to make a comment, if you're done, sir, you can have your seat. If anybody else would like to speak, certainly come up to the podium.
That was David Smith. I don't know if you got his name.
Okay, well, that seems to be,
You can't.
sir, if you could, hey, everybody, time out. Sir, if you could come up here and ask questions, so it's all on the record.
He's done now, he said.
Or ask what questions you have left.
What name and address?
They verified the use.
And, sir, can we get your name and address just for the record, too? Just so we can put that into the record as public comment. Well, that won't come back on the video recording, though. What? 2174.
Charlie Hay.
Charlie, got it. Thank you, Charlie Hay.
Would anybody else like to speak for or against this proposed use? Well, seeing none, board members, one last chance.
Let
Well,
me ask you, how did you come up with the numbers for natural lodging versus blanking tent? Did you do any studies? I mean, does that mean people don't want to do natural lodging?
Ma'am, if you could come up to the podium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did look, and there's not a lot, and what we're doing, we want to do something different, so it's more like, I don't know if I would be like there was,
You're talking about the glamping tent or the natural lodging?
Can you also hit the mic button, just so it'll turn red?
There we
Thank
go.
you so much.
Got it.
Oh, yep, red is on.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Sorry.
Any other questions, board members? Well, thank you very much. Well, we will go through our findings of fact. Once again, board members, with your permission, I'll just ask if you have any issues with each one. And this is under 749, other recreation, which we have used out there before and in similar things. So, number one, category 749, any objections?
No.
Number two, okay with the comprehensive plan, zoning ordinance?
Yes.
Harmonious with the existing or character of the general area?
Yes.
Hazardous or disturbing to neighboring uses? Any problems?
No.
Number five, all the utilities and so forth, any issues? Number six, accessory requirements for public services, detrimental to economic welfare, any issues?
No.
Number seven, this is about excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, etc. Any issues?
No.
Number eight, this is about interfering with traffic. Any issues?
No.
And
No,
number
as long-
nine,
No, as long as we put in the condition the maximum number of cars.
and number nine, loss of scenic or historic, etc. Having gone through our findings of fact, we'll take a motion. with appropriate conditions. I move we approve application BZCU-26-1 for a period of 1 year, subject to the following conditions: maximum of 10 cars, no fireworks, no recreational vehicles, and to adhere to the submitted rules.
Good rules.
That's my motion.
I'll second your motion.
We have a roll call?
Rick Harris.
Yes.
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 We wish you well, folks. Next item on the agenda.
We still have 4 items.
Gotta find where it went. There we go. Next item on the agenda, BZCU-26-02, Kevin Mason and Electricom Inc. with Georgia Hall. A conditional use permit under number 581, short-term rental, 506 Jefferson Street. Yes, sir, if you could give your name and address, and just one moment, sir. Folks, if you are done and you want to leave, just
Sleep.
go.
Okay.
You're up.
My name's Kevin Mason. My address is 3501 Highway 50 East, Bedford, Indiana.
And you're proposing,
And we have a purchase agreement on a home that we want to use for an Airbnb, VRBO. And it's kind of subject to getting approved for the variance.
one of many that we have here. What hours? The main thing this board concerns us with, frankly, is quiet hours, and it doesn't bother anything. You do what you want inside, but don't bother anybody.
Yeah, our
As
rules,
you no doubt well know.
our rules would be 10 PM to 9 AM.
What's your quiet hours?
Yeah, we have 3 properties in French Lick right now, and we have had no complaints. And, you know, our ratings on our houses, 4.9 or higher.
What's the maximum number of people?
Well, it's a 3-bedroom, and then there's another area that has a space for a pull-out couch. So it'll be between 8 and 10. We usually go to for each bed.
Do you have any problems with 8 to 10 people, board members?
You have plenty.
Parking to accommodate that?
Well, right now, the only parking is street parking, but it's our intention to pour a pad in the back for additional parking that can be accessed from the alley.
You have several places along 3rd Street there that are public parking, but yeah, it's not really yours, but probably, 8 or 10 cars probably there off of 3rd Street, can't you?
Yeah.
Beside the
Yeah,
house.
but, you know, our experience would be there's probably 2 cars usually.
Yeah.
It's usually 2 families, maybe.
If you were to make parking in the back, what timeline do you have in mind for that?
Probably this spring.
So within a year, for sure.
Yeah, there's a storage building back there now. We'd have to either move that or tear it down. There's other properties that have, you know, there's one that has a carport. There's a couple others that have, you know, just paved parking.
Well, I'm just asking because parking is a scarce commodity
Yeah, well,
downtown.
yeah, I think the good thing is we would be adding parking.
That's always good. Any other questions or comments, board members?
I thought we were trying to limit 2 people per bedroom. Is that what
Two
they were?
people per bed.
And how many beds do you have?
Well, right now it's not furnished, so I can't really.
Correct, but
It's 3 bedrooms, so I would assume that would be at least 6 people, and then a pull-out would probably be 8. We may allow additional 2 kids.
I believe you're right. Ms. Burkhart, we have allowed 2 per bedroom.
I say maximum 8.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
I mean, that's a good size.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments, board members? Let's see the rules here.
There's rules in the application.
Go find them.
Basically, we require 2-night minimum. They have to be 25 or older. They're not allowed to have any parties. And then we have the quiet hours.
Which are pretty standard for what this board has.
So is there anyone local, if there's any complaints, to take care of those problems?
Yeah, Brenda Eversole has agreed to serve as an emergency contact. I live about an hour and a half. Our host lives in French Lick. She's about an hour and a half away.
Any other questions or comments, board members? Would anyone in the audience like to speak for or against this application? Yes, sir. You can have a seat, sir. Come on up and give your name and address for the record, please.
Mr. Martinez, 509 Walnut Street. I just purchased pretty much the block right behind your property, and I hope you get it. My concern is it's an alley in the back, and I have a garage that's really tight to come in and out, and especially because the lady that owned it before has like a flower bed made out of stone that goes into the past the light pole, which is the city. And it's been a problem for me, but I want to be a good neighbor. I'm glad to hear that if everything goes well, that he's going to put in a driveway. So how far in is your driveway going to be so they don't run into my garage?
If you could come up to the microphone, sir.
Yeah, that's my property there.
On
That's
the
my
left?
garage there. And you see those stones? That's a big problem.
If we remove that building,
Yes,
we
yes.
can go, I don't know, 20 feet. Basically, the restriction would be the pool.
Yes, yes, yes.
So as long as we keep the alley and the pool.
Right. And if it's 20 feet, they have plenty of space to back up into the alley instead of having to nick my garage every time. I move my truck, and it's really tight in there, especially with those rocks that are past the post. And you got, 2.5, almost 3 foot into the alley there. But I want to be a good neighbor. I've never said anything, but now that you're gonna put a driveway, I think that'll resolve my problem. And hopefully nobody will back into my garage. I have cameras anyway, but still, I want to make it easy for whoever's backing up from your property into the alley instead of, coming too close. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Kevin Mason.
Kevin Fred Martinez. Yes. So I bought all those properties there, and that alley, it's really tight in there. It really is. But we all get along and help each other there as far as parking is concerned.
Yes. Mr. Mason, you sounded pretty definite that you want to remove that garage and put in a parking area.
Good.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions, comments, board members? Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, one more quick
thing.
Question is, with this Airbnb, how's that going to impact my taxes?
Probably not
If
at all.
at all.
Brenda, you probably have to address that.
If at all.
I shouldn't.
Because it's a business.
I
and
shouldn't
so,
say, because Indiana's taxes are
Yeah.
based on property values, but there's been a reduction in taxes, and there are circuit breakers, and this board is not, I don't think we could answer that question.
Okay. Because it's a business, and I know that if you have business, the property taxes do go up, and I just want to make sure that or I'd like to know if at all.
Well, I wish we could answer that, but I don't think this board can answer that.
Okay, do you know who I could address? That's very important. County assessor, okay.
That sounds reasonable,
Okay.
county assessor.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I think we can move on to our findings of fact. If I haven't got too confused here. This is a conditional use. I'm not using computers, I have piles of paper. What was that number again?
It's 581 Tourist Home.
581. Thank you. You got this one? This would be category 581. So once again, board members, with your permission, I'll just go down the list and ask if anybody has any issues. Category 581, is this appropriate? Any issues?
No issues.
Number 2, general objectives, any issues?
No.
Harmonious with the character of the area, any issues?
None.
Number 4, hazardous, disturbing, any issues?
Nope. Follow the rules.
Number 5, this is about utilities, any issues?
Nope. They're all there.
Number 6, detrimental economic welfare, any issues? Number 7, excess production, traffic, other things like that, any issues?
No.
Number 8, interfering with traffic on other streets, any issues? And number 9, loss of historic, natural, etc. features, any issues? No. We'll take a motion. I move we approve this conditional use, BZCU-26-2, for a period of 1 year, subject to the following conditions. Quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 9 a.m., maximum guests 8, no outdoor music, no parties, and applicant agrees to install parking in the rear within a period of that 1 year. That's my motion.
I second.
And could we have a roll call?
Making all my notes there. Sure thing. All right, so Rick Ferris.
Yes.
All right, Scott Holcomb,
Yes.
Carl England,
Yes.
and Nancy Rickard.
Yes.
Okay, well, we wish you well, sir.
Who was the second on that?
Thank you for providing
All
all
of
street
us.
parking.
All of you, Nancy.
Nancy, I think Nancy was the second.
I think she was quickest.
Moving on, we have a couple of variances from developmental standards. BZVD-25-18, Charles Webb, Tanner, and Annie Little, variance from development standards for 0-foot setback, both side yards for accessory building, 520 West Street.
I don't think anybody's there.
Have we not approved that before?
I thought
There
it was
were-
familiar too.
Okay, so I know there were a few that, when we went back through the records, it was hard to tell what happened, and there were a couple that they'd started the wrong application type, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And it,
Had come back.
yeah, they would then switch them and it hadn't been voided out, so since no one is here, they did stop by today, though, and they did drop off their public notice right before this meeting. It was the wife, and she did say that they all were ill this week. The whole household was. So I'm gonna guess that she didn't stay for 2.5 hours. She said they were all had a virus, so I might say I can reach out to him again and verify, but I could not find this approval in any of the.
But if we did approve it, does it have to be done within a certain time frame? That's why I wondered if that's what happened, that it wasn't done within a certain time.
I can look at that too to see what your current.
I thought we did approve this one. Just that I thought I.
Here, and I can tell you really quickly, just by the address, any active past applications, 520 West Street.
Isn't that
And
close to the parking lot there?
so currently they have, well, total applications in the system for however long you've been in OpenGov, so at least a couple of years, I would say. They have a COA, so Certificate of Appropriateness application in there, this variance, and a building permit. And those are the only application history on this parcel. So,
Well, in that case,
so,
I move we table this application till our next regular
Second.
meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, it's tabled.
all right. No,
And now we have BZVD-26-1, Robert Stillwell, for a 4x12-foot sign at 720 South Deer Bend. The application says bed.
oh,
Bend.
that is a bend, sorry, needs an N in there.
And I do not see anybody
And
here.
this one too, we did not get back, their green card receipts back for this application, so didn't get public notice on it. The other thing I was gonna point out that, I did not include in that staff report was, it is on a scenic byway. And so NDOT actually also, in addition to whatever we regulate as a city, NDOT regulates any signs that are visible from a scenic byway. And so it's much more difficult, if you're gonna actually
You know what kind
get
of
that
sign you
permit.
want?
It was there, and I know it took a number of violations to get that removed,
Oh.
or a number of, notices to them. If you drive by, you'll see kind of like a pergola
Yeah.
that's out there. It looks like it's right adjacent to like the right-of-way. It was located on that, and it was a 4x12. So city did eventually, just through violations, get them to take it down. I believe that was in December, maybe, might have been November, December, late last year. And then now he's applied for that variance for that.
Well, since no one is here, and there are other issues with notifications, I move we table this application till our next regular meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And I think that,
There's
One
one
more.
more use
Number eight.
variance.
Number 8.
And I don't know where he was.
This is in my neighborhood. I was curious about that.
Yeah, I know that this one he had called, it's a general business. It's a very small parcel, so it's
Yeah.
kind of odd that it was zoned that, but he wanted to retain the ability to do
It's right behind.
business activities potentially, but wanted to replace that
Yeah.
house that's there
It's
with
right
a
on the parking
duplex.
lot of the black.
Yeah,
I quit it, yeah.
but I don't know where he
well,
is.
since no one is here, I move we table this one till our next regular meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Is that all? Have I
Yeah,
forgotten?
we were gonna do the rules since this was a really long meeting. We'll do that next time. And the PC's not doing theirs till next month anyway, so.
Well, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Who was that motion and second, just for the record? Nancy second, Rick was the motion?
Yeah.
Nancy second.